Hello and welcome back to FrogClan. Today we are picking up going into a couple more moons here now before our next extinction event, which we now know is going to be a frost and ice themed event, fittingly enough for myself. So our cats are gonna have quite the challenge ahead of them. But first and foremost, we do have a few extra moons, namely 6, to get through before we actually make it there. So today's episode is going to be a little bit longer as we navigate those patrols and statuses and time skips, and we'll end off with the actual extinction event. And normally I think we just do the extinction event itself because that goes on long enough by itself. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into today's episode here. Okay, so Shimmerpaw has reached the age of 6 moons and has been made an apprentice with Seafur as her mentor. Leopardpaw has reached the age of 6 moons and has been made an apprentice with Acorn Crest as their mentor. And Brighthorn announces that she is expecting kits and decides to move into the nursery in preparation for their soon-to-come kits. Unfortunately, Timberhill does die of an infected wound, and they take their place in StarClan as their loss is mourned and stories are shared about their life. I can't really say it's not surprising. Timberhill is already at a very advanced age, and with a wound like a broken jaw and infection in there, that's just not going to be a good combination. Sniphusk has gotten a running nose. Brighthorn is no longer shivering. Dunebriar is no longer sore. Fog Ember notices Dunebriar limping from across the other side of the camp, and then they give them some exercises to help them strengthen their weak leg and reduce the pain, which is even more fitting for Dunebriar since Dunebriar is missing a paw. Timberhill passes. Spiderkit has gotten a running nose. An OggClan medicine cat comes to ask if we have any moss to spare, but we only have enough for ourselves and we refuse to share. And we'll just give this a quick scroll here. I'm really curious to see what happens with Bright Torrent and her kits, since we're gonna be right on the cusp there. Kits aren't gonna have any kind of like negative quality just for being kits for an event like this, I don't think. So they have as equal a chance as anybody. We'll go in detail through our cats that we have right before the event as well, just to refresh ourselves on what their current mutations are and how they're doing for the day, but till then I'll only stick with noting out their notable statuses. So we still have Wisteria Star insisting they receive 10 lives instead of 9. I'm curious to see if Wisteria Star is able to make it through. Murklaw is strict and a fantastic healer, and a couple of people pointed out why not just make Murklaw a healer now that he's no longer bloodthirsty. And I did have a reason for why I wanted to keep him as a warrior, but that was stuck in the back of my head and I never said it out loud, so now I don't fully remember what that was. Which is really stupid, but it is what it is. And I do agree, I think he'd be a good medicine cat. He's always had an interest in herbs, and with his many injuries and mutations that result from that, I think he would be kind of good in a role as a no-nonsense medicine cat. He's currently surveying the camp scornfully from a higher vantage point. I think Wisteria Star did bring the clan together to explain what is happening and what to expect for their latest event, and everybody is probably trying to prepare in their own ways for what's to come. Hair Shadow is thinking about where they belong. They're probably wondering if they're meant to be in this clan, mutation or no. Maybe even be wondering if they'd be better off elsewhere. Okay, so here's Shimmerpaw, who's currently picking burrs from their pelt. She turned out to be competitive and oddly observant, which honestly kind of goes hand in hand. You observe a little bit more, and then you're like, I wanna do better than what you just said there. And then we have Leperpaw, who is appropriately feeling a sense of dread. She is cunning and quick-witted. And here's Twilight Kit, who purrs all day long. Spider Kit, who wants to snuggle. Twilight Kit is missing a leg, yeah. And she's confident with her words, so. Spider Kit is sweet and interested in clan history. Somebody pointed out that he had these dots above his eyes, which kind of fit his name, and it is very cute. Claw does not succeed in finding any garlic. Seifer and Crowd Smoke take their apprentices out on training. Seifer is looked to settle an argument. Seifer listens to both sides and makes a careful judgment and keeps no one happy, which is the mark of an excellent compromise. Here Shadow finds a wounded cat near the Thunder Path. The patrol approaches the injured cat and sees signs of life. Alarmed, they gently pick up the cat and take them back to camp to be treated. The grateful cat decides to join the clan. Agnes has joined the clan. Agnes is looking around camp with wonder. She is an adult female, 79 moons old, with sunlit eyes and a ticked pelt. She is bloodthirsty with unnatural senses and is originally from another clan, is presently injured with a broken back. Ow. Okay, so they're from another clan, and I'm sure that all of the various events are starting to take a toll on the other clans now, so that's probably not really helping. But in her case, as she's bloodthirsty with natural senses, that's also just a dangerous combination, and she could well have been exiled for it. But let's see if she comes to the mutation. She will have advantage since she came from another clan. Okay, so Agnes rolled pretty well. She ended up with a broad head, glider body, stinger tail, and huge paws. So, not sure how many of those are going to be helpful for the event that we have upcoming. But that's not bad that we've got 4. Oh, Chirpmark finds a loner who offers their healing skills in exchange for shelter. And the new medicine cat is welcomed into the clan. Posy Speckle has joined the clan. Let's see here. Posy Speckle is a pretty rosette pattern female, senior adult, 102 moons, with cobalt eyes. She is childish and a dreamwalker and is also originally from another clan. They were cast out for some transgression that they're not keen on talking about. The fact that we got her and Agnes, who is also once a medicine cat, actually. The same moon is very interesting, so it kind of makes me wonder if they came together for some reason. But she'll also get a chance at advantage because she's from another clan. Okay, so Posy Speckle has a streamlined head, cute eyes, venomous teeth, a glider body, and is tailless. Those are the traits that she ended up rolling, which generally speaking isn't too bad either. We only got 1 negative trait there, so it could definitely be worse. Honestly, just like between their colorations and the number of mutations they have, I almost wonder if these are like siblings from different litters, but let me know what you guys think about that. Oh, by the way, this is what Agnes will look like healthy. So now we have 3 medicine cats. Perfect timing, I guess. So Bright Torrent thinks that she'll have a small litter. Tinetail ran too fast over harsh ground and hurt their paws. Spider Kit's running nose has finally stopped running. Blitzow's shadow saved Bright Torrent from an enemy warrior and is barely even hurt. They're a bit bruised, but bruises are better than claw marks. So some warrior is attacking our queen. Crowd Smoke received a present, dry earths from Seifer, and decides to keep it with them on their belt. And we'll just scroll through here real quick. I do like that we are getting so many new cats with traits, but I just hope that they're going to ultimately be good traits for us. Snipask is assessing the apprentices. All the medicine cats are checking up on the warriors right now. The older cats are trying to set good examples right now. Jirachi Lightning proclaimed to the clan leader their unwavering loyalty. Seifer is lecturing his apprentice on the warrior code. Torrent is unusually tame today. She's probably feeling a little bit under the weather. Blitzo's shadow is determined to protect their loved ones now more so than ever, which is also fitting. Here's Crab Smoke, who has the dried herbs, and is feeling bad about never being invited to share tongues. Okay, nothing much there. We'll go on to our patrols. Oh, Posy Speckle has a new favorite catmint plant. Has a few favorite catmint plants and goes to check whether they've regrown. 2 haven't, but another 2 have, and they're enough for a great harvest to take back to camp. And we gather catmint. The other medicine cats do gather some herbs as well, but catmint in particular could be helpful for this event. So Seifer feels the earth shifts underneath them as everything collapses. The patrol panics and tries to dig them out. Hurt and wheezing, Seifer hears the patrol panicking as they drift to StarClan and dies. Oh man, Seifer. I was really rooting for you. Sniphusk sees a pod of dolphins swimming in the distance and considers a good learning opportunity for the apprentices. Sniphusk tells a mournful and haunting tale of all the cats that were swept out to sea and drowned before dolphins took pity on one of them. Sniphusk tells the apprentice that the tiny white and red cat that was saved made the first traditions and bonds with the dolphins, and that both clan and dolphins wept at their death when it came. I feel like this is a reference to something that I don't know, so if you know, please tell me in a comment, because I'm very curious to hear about this. Just because, like, I know we've helped the dolphins and dolphins have helped us, but, like, I don't know, this just feels very specific. Our patrol finds the loner who's interested in joining. We banter, making them feel more welcome. And we don't have to do much convincing, as loner seems happy to join. Basil Nibble has joined the clan. Let's take a look at Basil Nibble. It's quite a name. Okay, so they are formerly a loner. An adult male with hazel eyes, a mackerel pelt, insecure, lore master, and good swimmer. And they also have multiple traits. And the max number of traits. We're getting unreal luck this go here. Okay, so Basil Nibble here has a streamlined head, deaf ears, slit eyes, a muscular body, and huge paws. So we also got a negative there, but in the grand scheme of things, I'd still rather get multiple good traits and 1 negative than only 1 good trait at this point. Okay, Wisteria rests our muzzle on Shadow Bramble's head and declares them to be a full warrior FrogClan, honoring their wit. That's a powerful sounding name. With their litter of 2 kits mewling at their belly, Bright Torrent's long pregnancy has finally given them and Murklaw the expansion that they've been hoping and waiting for. The past moon, Seifer has taken their place in StarClan. Their loss is mourned as moments of their life and stories are shared. Sniphusk's running nose is gone, but she was badly injured by a dog. Timetail can't walk without pain, their cracked pads have healed. Acorn Crest has gotten heat exhaustion. Fog Ember has gotten fleas. Dunebriar's soreness is gone. Krat Smoke has gotten heat exhaustion. Krat Smoke and Greypaw are both no longer suffering from the shock of Seifer, nor is Shimmerpaw. Jirachi Lightning has recovered from the birth of their litter. Twilight Kit reports to Posy Speckle with the ease of familiarity, asking for help sleeping at night. Their missing limb is giving them a bit of pain on that side. Aww. Blitzo Shadow's bruises had disappeared. Posy Speckle wasn't looking where they were going, tripped over a small trunk, spraining their paw. Basil Nibble has gotten heat exhaustion, and it's noticed that all the longboard went bad and will have to be replaced. With all these cats getting heat exhaustion in the midst of Greenleaf, they're probably feeling like this frost and snow thing that StarClan predicted are a long ways away. Some of the newer members of the clan, or kits or apprentices that don't really know the exact length of what's happened in the past, are probably doubting that anything's even going to happen. but with long memory and a lot of experience in the case of cats like Wisteria Star, who's gone through a couple of these already, they're probably really feeling it and are getting very nervous. Okay, we have a pebble kit, newborn male, blue eyes and a speckled pelt, medium fur length and is polite. We have sky kit, a newborn female, cobalt eyes, a single striped pelt, and short fur. They definitely take over bright orange over either other parents for coloration patterning, but let's see what their possible traits are. Okay, so unless the kits get a random mutation, which I have never rolled for, they won't have anything on their head, ears, or eyes, but they could get a 50-50 out of venomous teeth. They're basically guaranteed something on their tail and paws, so... Someone did ask me too why I didn't do this for all the cats or like new kits that came into the clan. The long and short answer is that it doesn't necessarily make a difference about whether I roll for the parents or not, because, like, say one parent gets everything and the other parent gets nothing, then I roll 50-50 to see if the kids get anything. If the kids don't get anything because they just roll really poorly, then I'm ultimately getting the same outcome for more work. Whereas the kids could just roll really well coming into the clan anyway and get all kinds of traits or some traits or even just one trait. Like, basically the way the genetics works here, unless the parents have a trait on the same thing, they could just get nothing there anyway. So it's kind of to the same outcome for less rolls. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I did my rolls here for the new kits. Pebble Kit definitely rolled worse. We did not get any random mutations. We only ended up with the muscular body of the two other traits. And we have an aquatic tail and tiny paws for his other ones. Sky Kit actually did somehow manage to roll a random mutation. Ended up with tattered ears. She also has venomous teeth. She missed out on muscular body. She also has an aquatic tail, and she ended up with thumb paws. So they almost were the exact opposite of one another if it wasn't for the aquatic tail. If they had gotten the other tail type, they would have been true opposites. So that's kind of fun. Wisteria Star is no thoughts, head empty. Depesk has a mangled tail. I'm actually hoping that comes out with a scar before we go into everything. Ignis draws blood when training with another warrior, and Coley says it was an accident. It's impressive that they're doing that with a broken back, I guess. Here, Shirachi Lightning, our very pretty, very large new cat. Timetail is pretending to be a big evil warrior for Spider Kit. Crab Smoke is having a good day despite her heat exhaustion. So we have Basil Nibble, Acorn Crest, and Crab Smoke all with heat exhaustion right now. Here's Shadow Bramble. She is charismatic with a connection to StarClan. Just a connection to StarClan, we don't know if it's strong or weak. Greypaw, on the other hand, thinks that they're going crazy. Is currently fierce and still an avid play fighter. While Greypaw and Dunebriar are out walking, Greypaw seems preoccupied. When Dunebriar brings their patrol to a halt to ask what's wrong, they reveal they have been having a hard time sleeping. Their dreams are filled with shadows and images. Greypaw isn't a kit anymore, and although Dunebriar tries to be gentle about it, they make it clear it's Greypaw's responsibility to make sure they're rested and attentive for their training. Dunebriar. Mark once again is leading a patrol when there are dark clouds on the horizon, and we wonder if we should continue. We have to. I don't want to, but we have to. There's a downpour and stone flood from the overflowing river sweeps all the cats in patrol away. Blitzo Shadow manages to ride the waves, paddling for their life, but many are lost forever, and Shadow Bramble and Chirpmark both die. Chirpmark was a normal cat, as was Shadow Bramble, but it still hurts that they both ended up dying there. Acorn Crest announced that they are expecting kits. They choose to continue their duties as usual for now. Poolshade wails when they see the body of Chirpmark still cold in the clearing. They set vigil that night as grief fills their heart. Poolshade makes a point of removing some foliage for Chirpmark's nest before it's cleared out. Chirpmark's scent and the strands of fur left behind comfort Poolshade as they drift to sleep that night. Hair Shadow, voice hoarse with grief, tells stories of Chirpmark's care and wisdom as the clan sits vigil for them, making sure FrogClan honors their parent. Hair Shadow can't handle the vigil's entirety despite their best efforts. Chirpmark's death has drained them. Hair Shadow settles into their nest in a tight ball, hoping Chirpmark may visit them in a dream. Irish Stripe wails when they see the body of their parent, Chirpmark, lying still and cold. Irish Stripe can't handle the vigil's entirety. It's far too agonizing. Loss has taken such a toll on them that they barely find their footing as they stumble to their nest, wailing for Chirpmark. The past moon, Shadow Bramble and Chirpmark had taken their place in StarClan. Acorn Crest heat exhaustion is baited, and Crowd Smoke has managed to recover from theirs. Jayleaf has gotten heat exhaustion. Basil Nibble has recovered from heat exhaustion. So it's been a really hot one. Sky Kit picks some flowers around the camp to bring back to the medicine den. Man, it really stinks to lose those cats like that. I hate to say it, but it was 2 cats that didn't have any traits, and they probably wouldn't have survived what's coming in a couple moons anyway, but it still stings to lose them. Here's Pebble Kit. A young male is helping clean out the nursery, polite and has interest in herbs. Here's Sky Kit, who's pretending to be a 2-leg kit, daydreamer and lover of stories. Sniphusk is feeling gloomy. Very understandable. Fog Ember is wondering how Hair Shadow's doing. Claw staring off into space, probably with the shock of everything that's happening right now. Ignis yearns to fight. Grouchy Lightning is determined to protect their loved ones, probably especially their kits, now more so than ever. Timetail is wondering how Acorn Crest is doing. Acorn Crest is pregnant. She doesn't have mate or current relations that would indicate she had kittens with somebody outside of being like in a formal relationship, so Timetail is probably having some concern for their old mate there. Hair Shadow is feeling nervous. Irish Stripe is down with grief and is wondering what lays beyond the distant horizon. Greypaw is still in training and is wondering how Blitzo Shadow's doing. Shimmerpaw is reenacting a move they saw Jayleaf do. And Leopardpaw wants to compare catches with Greypaw. Crab Smoke brings out some of the other older apprentices to train. No one stands up to teach. It's a little awkward with the patrol disbands to attend to other duties. Crab Smoke is just not a very good leader. I'm sorry. Leopardpaw isn't acting like their usual self. Acorn Crest guides them to sit, gently asking what's wrong. Leopardpaw, cuddled close to Acorn Crest's side, whispers that they feel like a failure, that they're not doing good enough. Acorn Crest gently tugs them close, murmuring that Leopardpaw is more than failures. Failure hurts, yes, but it comes with a chance to learn. All I can do is try not to make the same mistake twice. Acorn Crest was in a very similar position as an apprentice, so she probably is really feeling that more than some other cats may. Crystal Splash notices some kids playing near Clan border. She orders the patrol to go back to camp, asking that Poolshade be left behind to help them. They go up to the little kids, convincing them that they're going to give them the best badger ride ever. As they approach Clan's camp, with the kids squealing with joy in their back, they agree with the relief and laughter. We are not going to proceed here. With Siriusar arrests her muzzle Greyheart's head and declares them to be a full warrior FrogClan, honoring their pragmatism. Jayleaf wished to join the elders. The clan honors them and all the service Jayleaf has given to them. Acorn Crest thinks that they'll have a small litter. They don't believe they can efficiently perform their duties while expecting and decide to move into the nursery. Rumors reach our clan that the kitty pet Lewis has died recently. We met them a very long time ago, I think. Timetail woke up with a splitting headache and couldn't get out of their nest. They spent the entire day curled up, trying to avoid light and noise so that the throbbing pain could subside. Fog Ember has gotten rid of all their fleas. Dunebriar overdid the last sparring session, has been wincing all day. Seems they're a bit bruised. They've also gotten a heat stroke from that training session. Crowd Smoke was bitten by a snake and miraculously survived. Irish Stripe tells them that they can't let their feelings consume them and said they had to learn to live with it. They then fought a big dog and was badly injured. Jaylee's heat exhaustion is abated, but then they got more. Twilight Kit's soreness is gone. Spider Kit's gotten heat exhaustion. Posy's Speckle's sprain is feeling much better. Yeah, this snowstorm event is going to feel really out of place in the midst of such a hot green leaf. But that is how it be sometimes. Siriusar thinks they're going crazy, probably with the omen of the frost in the midst of this hot green leaf and with the pressure of having to lead the other cats through it. Sniphusk is still hurt. Fog Ember is formally into their elder look. Dunebriar is feeling nervous. Mere Shadow is busy sharpening their claws to look stronger. Irish Stripe has a broken bone from their interaction with the dog. Greatheart wants to get to know Acorn Crest better. They grow to be fierce and unusually strong fighter. Jayleaf as an elder who is still currently sick. Let's just take a look at them. This is what they currently look like. Jayleaf is strict, an eloquent speaker, and clever. I don't think much has changed as they grew older. Twilight Kit is a bit cross with Sky Kit. Spider Kit is looking very sad in that nest, sick with heat exhaustion. Little Kit is hunting bugs, and Sky Kit wants Timetail to pretend to be their apprentice. Murklaw makes a humming sound and asks Fog Ember if they ever ponder their own mortality. Fog Ember swishes their tail and answers that they've never really thought about it, past knowing they'll go to StarClan when they die. It certainly makes for interesting conversation. It's all too soon that they pick their herbs and have their mouths too full to continue. They're definitely probably thinking about mortality right now. Okay, nothing much happens on patrol. We just kind of meet some other clans, and training doesn't go very well. So, without further ado, we're going to head into Moon 90. Twilight Kit loudly complains as Jirachi Lightning pulls them over to quickly groom their pelt. They manage to wiggle away and scurry over to the front of the crowd for their ceremony, where they are named to Twilight Paw and apprenticed to Basil Nibble. Spider Paw touches noses with Jirachi Lightning and hopes that they'll get to hunt first so they can make sure the clan is fed. Acorn Crest had a single kitten and refused to talk about their progenitor. Irish Stripe brought a litter of 3 kits back to camp, refusing to talk about their origin. Basil Nibble, needing to one-up Irish Stripe, brought a litter of 4 kits back to camp, refusing to talk about their origin. We have 8 new kits. Sniphusk is healed from their mangled tail, but unfortunately the tail itself is gone. Not so unfortunately, they will get a new mutation. Bright Torrent is recovered from birthing their litter. Timetail's headache is gone. Dunebriar is no longer bruised, and they've recovered from heat stroke. Poolshay will always feel their grief, but time softened it at least a little. Hair Shadow gazes up to Silver Pelt and finds that finally the grief has begun to lessen. Spider Kit's heat exhaustion has abated, and all the dandelion has gone bad. So, like I said before, we are going to go through all of the kits. Well, we're going to go through all of the cats as well as our new kits. And we are going to just refresh ourselves on who we currently have in the clan before we go into this big extinction event, which fittingly, we are now moving into leaf fall and things are getting a bit darker and stormier. So first and foremost here we have Siriusar, who is rethinking their life choices. Siriusar presently has adaptable vision and a glider body. We have Sniphusk, who has a seal nose, small body, and a singer tail. The loss of the tail isn't going to affect their mutation on the tail, but we will roll for one of their non-affected limbs now. Okay, so with the new mutation, Sniphusk has a steel nose, fuzzy ears, a small body, and a single tail. So she's a very interesting mishmash. But she is 72 moons old, adventurous, and a great teacher. Fog Emperor, who is confident and a fantastic healer, has narrow head, tattered ears, amphibious tail, and that is all. Fuzzy Speckle wants to get to know Skykit better. She has a streamlined head, cute eyes, venomous teeth, a glider body, and is tailless. Murklaw is worried about Skykit. I think that's... yeah. Was worried about his own kit during this upcoming event, which is understandable. He has a muscular body, aquatic tail, and thumb paws. Then we have Dunebriar, who defended a clanmate in an argument, is daring as a skilled mediator. Unfortunately, only has a negative trait, being a lost paw. Bristle Splash is appalled at a clanmate blatantly lying. She has a small body only. Basil Nibble took their own insecurities out on a friend the other day and feels awfully guilty. He has a streamlined head, deaf ears, slit eyes, a muscular body, and huge paws. Ignis is wondering how Acorn Crest is doing. She has a broad head, glider body, singer tail, and huge paws. Jirachi Lightning tries to set a good example for your cats with a broad head, deaf ears, slit eyes, muscular body, and huge paws. Our very big queen. Bright Torrent is hoping Sniphusk won't assign them to the next patrol. She has venomous teeth, a singer tail, and tiny paws. Timetail is getting some looks after speaking out of turn at the last clan meeting. They have fuzzy ears and a prehensile tail. Acorn Crest is worried others are judging them, probably for one random kit. They have an aquatic tail. Acorn Crest's kit is just a random, with a random cat, so we'll roll accordingly there. We have Blitzo Shadow, who's lecturing Leopard Paw on the Warrior Code. They have closed ears, adaptable vision eyes, and that is all. Crowd Smoke wants to be chosen as the new deputy. She has narrow head, tattered ears, and talons on her paws. Pool Shade, who is eavesdropping on Ignis, is normal. Hair Shadow is talking to themselves. They have a scaly tail. Irish Stripe wants to get to know Hair Shadow better, has large ears and a scaly tail. Greyheart wants to get to know Basil Nibble better, has slit eyes, and that is all. Shimmerpaw wonders if Bright Torrent was a good apprentice and is a normal cat. Leopardpaw had a very strange dream and is a normal cat. Twilight Paw, newly made apprentice, who is nervous but confident with words, feels proud of himself for doing so well in training today. Has deaf ears, a muscular body, slit eyes, and talon paws. Spider Paw, who's looking cute with their little brow marks, is thinking about how awful kitty pet food must taste, grows to be compassionate with an interest in clan history, has adaptable vision, muscular body, and huge paws. Jayleaf has tattered ears, and is growing fond of Pebblekit. Pebblekit is keeping their fur nice and clean. They have a muscular body, aquatic tail, tiny paws. And Skykit wants to learn everything they can and more with tattered ears, venomous teeth, aquatic tail, and thumb paws. Bitekit is a newborn female with green eyes, 2-color pelt, short fur length, know-it-all. And I'll roll for the parent, the other parent. Okay, so little Bitekit here has the opportunity to have a streamlined head, fuzzy ears, cute eyes, flat teeth, and aquatic tail from her parents. So it'll just be 50-50 on what she gets. And she ends up keeping fuzzy ears, cute eyes, and aquatic tail. And she does not have any random mutations. And then for our other kids, There's so many newborn kits. Why did it have to be this moon that this happened? We have Sneeze Kit, Rowan Kit, Conj Kit, Weed Kit, Shining Kit, Rain Kit, and Pearl Kit for our randomly brought back kits. Sneeze Kit, Rowan Kit, and Conj Kit all seem to be from Irish Stripe, who I'm guessing brought them back from a half-clan backstory. Yep, these kits were born in another clan, but chose to come to this clan to be with their other parent. Born on Moon 90 in Leafall. So I don't think they were really chosen to come back. I think they came back because they had something weird going on with them, but we'll see. And it looks like it's the same for our other 4 kits: Weed Kit, Shining Kit, Rain Kit, and Pearl Kit. Both of these sets of kits really take after their parent in our clan, funnily enough, huh? So, Irish Stripe has large ears and a scaly tail. We'll roll to see what these kits can get. Okay, so their other parent was normal, so for these kits it's just going to be 50-50 on what traits they keep from Irish Stripe. Sneeze Kit gets large ears. Same with Rowan Kit. Conch Kit gets scaly tail. So they all only kept one trait from Irish Stripe, but it's at least an interesting mix. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Basil Nibble picked a mate that has 5 other traits themselves, so their kits are going to be genetic powerhouses, no matter what. Oh, that just reminds me, I forgot to roll to see if anyone else got random mutation. One sec. Okay, so Rowan Kit actually got a random mutation, so let me just see what that is. They actually got adaptable vision on their eyes. Okay, so that's cool. Now back to the genetic powerhouses. Let me see what the other parent has, and then we also see if they get any random mutations, and then what mutations they end up with. Okay, so for all of Basil Nibble's kits, barring any random mutations, they're going to have a 50-50 shot of either streamlined or a broadhead, deaf or fuzzy ears. They could have slit eyes or normal eyes, flat or normal teeth, a muscular body or normal body, multi-tail or normal tail, or huge hair talon paws. So that is a lot to unpack. They could well end up with something on everything, which is going to be a first if it does happen. They could also just roll really poorly and only win the coin toss between 2 traits that they're guaranteed to have, like a streamlined or a broadhead. So, without further ado, let's see what Weed Kit ends up with. Okay, so Weed Kit ends up with a broad head, deaf ears, flat teeth, a muscular body, and talon paws. Not the best, not by a long shot. Shining Kit also ended up without a random mutation, has streamlined head, fuzzy ears, flat teeth, muscular body, and huge paws. Okay, so Rain Kit ends up with a streamlined head, fuzzy ears, flat teeth, multi-tail, and talon paws. And Pearl Kit ends up rolling probably the best of everybody. She has a broad head, deaf ears, flat teeth, a muscular body, multi-tail, and talon paws. Okay, and that is everybody. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and calculate what we get with the mutations we have. I really want to try and just keep it with the mutations we have. We don't end up with a lot of cats that would survive, or if we would just effectively lose the challenge because based solely on that, then I'll probably do something more akin to what I did last time, but I'm really hoping that with the mutations we have, it'll be different. So I will see you all when we get into our story. Okay, I think I'm done rolling. It was a very long process. Before we get fully into our results here, I'm just going to explain how it went. So effectively, I scored a cat based off of how many good traits and how many bad traits it had. If it was neutral, it was just a roll, straight roll, 50-50 to survive. If they got above a certain percentage, then they would have enough left over to help out another cat. If they had one negative trait, then it was only quarter chance to survive, so they basically have to roll 15 or higher to make it. If they had more than that, then they basically had to get a natural 20, or if they were normal, they basically had to get a natural 20 to win, or to succeed and to survive. So, like, and then if they got natural 20, not only did they survive, but they could help another cat. If a cat had one good trait, then they only had a 1 in 4 chance to die. If a cat had more than one good trait, then they survived. And depending on what role they then had, or how many extra good traits they had, they could then get another assist for another cat. Wasiriasar had one roll for every life, so he got a certain number of assists or a certain number of deaths based off of what he got for each number of those. So I'm gonna go through these. I did keep some extra notes up just for a bit of transparency on what each cat got there. Some of them are just straight up they survived or they didn't, and that kind of is what that is. But I hope you enjoy the results anyway. We'll get into them now. Wasiriasar calls the clan together with the harsh green light that they just had and the warning from StarClan on the horizon. He warns the clan that at some point this moon, and he doesn't know when, there's going to be a great chilling cold that settles. A lot of the younger clan doesn't really believe him. They just think that it's going to be going into leaf air as usual, and maybe they'll get an early snow or an early frost that may kill off some extra plants or herbs or something. In preparation, the medicine cats bleakly put away their herbs into the farthest recesses of the den and go through all the preservation methods that they know, drying them in the ample sunlight from the green leaf and so on. A lot of the younger clan doesn't necessarily believe that it's going to happen, but the older cats that know what's coming go about preparations with a very dark sense of duty. They gather as much extra moss as they can, padding in the dens as best as they can. Patrols are much larger and less frequent where they can be, and every overcast day is met with looks of fear and concern. Until one day, finally, it breaks, and the first bit of snow drifts merrily down from the skies above. This little bit of snow doesn't really concern some of the cats that don't believe that what's coming is coming, but it sets some of the older or more experienced cats into a state of fear, and they are convinced that this is a storm prophecy to them. Some of the younger cats still go about business as usual, but the other cats are frantically gathering what food and supplies they can and securing themselves away into the depths of their dens. A lot of the dens here are pretty open, especially the warriors and elders' den, so a lot of the more fragile cats are bundled away into the nursery with the kittens in the very center of the huddle. But then the snow passes, and there's no problems. It's definitely cold, much colder than it should be this time of year, but it's gone, and the cats, relieved that they got away so light, go about duty as normal. And for the most part, the moon continues as usual. Wasiriasar doesn't trust it and asks Fog Ember to confirm if this was in fact their prophesied event. Fog Ember just tells Wasiriasar that StarClan's been quiet, And StarClan's apparently leaving this entirely up to them, much as they have in past events. Wisteria Star is not convinced, but begins to send cats out on patrol as normal, just with the warning to keep an eye out for anything unusual. Overnight, one night, there is a gentle whispering as Frost creeps over the beach grass where these cats live and settles its claws into the rocks and boats where they are. The cold is so extreme that the sea where they live nearby actually begins to freeze, with glaciers and ice floes forming around and in the far distance. Wisteria Star wakes without even realizing what's happening, already having lost one life, and he appears in StarClan, surrounded by the grim faces of other cats that were around him before. He looks on in shock, asking desperately what happened, what could have possibly happened to him. They tell him that the actual event is here now, and he must stay strong for his clan. It's not too late for him. He can still return to the world of the living if he so chooses, to help what clanmates he can from this harsh overnight frost. Wisteria Star desperately says, yes, send me back. I have a lot I can do. He is gradually sent back, and he wakes, his fur completely cold, frosted over, little bits of snow outside of his den. He wakes shivering and desperately turns his mate Bristlefrost at his side, eager to get her to safety where it's a little bit warmer. He's already surprised just how cold it is in his den, which is already still padded with moss from their earlier preparations. And Bristlefrost doesn't move when he goes to touch her. She is as cold as ice beneath his paws, and with a mournful cry, he realizes he's already too late to save one of his beloved clanmates. Her small stature put her at harsher risk of the cold, and she just wasn't able to keep enough warmth to survive even with his body beside her. And Bristle Splash, unfortunately, dies to the frost. And Bristle Splash finds herself waking in the stars of Silverpelt. Alarmed by this devastating event, Wisteria Star leaps out onto the icy deck of the ship, crying out to his clan, who lie, their fur frozen underneath piles of snow and motionless. Wisteria Star curses StarClan for not giving them better warning, for letting them go back to life as they had been, and for sending this event so late in what they felt was the time frame that they had. He desperately goes to the warriors den and checks in on Sniphusk. Sniphusk, who has a smaller stature herself and some other traits that indicate that she would not be best suited for such cold. He shakes her, and eventually Sniphusk does wake. She had one paw already in StarClan, but she does manage to rouse herself and shake off the frost that was trying to grip her. She is much too out of it to help for herself, and so Wisteria Star sends her into the medicine cat den and the nursery, which were the two places that were best suited for this anyway. And drearily, not even fully knowing what's happening, she pads on numb paws to the den as requested. When she gets to the medicine cat den, she is shocked to find that Fog Ember, who had some not so great traits for the cold herself, with ears that were already torn, smaller stature, and a tail not suited for the cold. And she goes to prod Fog Ember for some herbs, shocked to find that Fog Ember is non-responsive, completely stiff and frozen under her touch. She'd seen this on prey and leaf bear before, but never on another cat, never so quickly. Not especially a cat in their own nest surrounded by other medicine cats. But as much as she pokes and prods, Fog Ember doesn't wake. And shocked, Sniphusk cries out, and neither Posy Speckle nor Murklaw initially come to. Murklaw does rouse himself from the frost, surprised to find that his fur cracks as ice comes off of it in waves, but his muscular body manages to keep in enough of his own heat. He wakes just as unaware and out of it as the other cats were, and goes to help rouse Posy Speckle, seeing that Fog Ember is too far gone, but is disappointed to find that Posy Speckle is just as unmoving as Fog Ember, and both cats are gone. And it's begun. Sniphusk and Murklaw look at one another in horror, the adrenaline of what's occurring starting to pump through their blood, warming it a little bit as they come to the realization of just how dire of a situation they truly are in. Sniphusk is tasked with moving the stiff and cold bodies of the other two cats out of the den to make room for the living, warm bodies of other cats. A few others do immediately fall victim to this initial frost. Notably, Corncrest, who is already weak from recovering from birth and had developed an aquatic fish-like tail after the last event, wasn't really prepared for the frost, and already weakened from birth, she unfortunately does pass in her sleep as well. Slowly, the other cats are roused to the efforts of Wisteria Star, and the effect slowly spreads as Wisteria Star rouses more cats, who in turn rouse their other clanmates. Some cats manage to get on their feet a bit better than others. Dunebriar, in particular, who has negative traits already, struggles to get up and struggles even harder to navigate the snow and ice that has so quickly befallen the camp. These cats are ushered into the warmth of the nursery, where they can hopefully try and wait it out. The frost itself is insidious and claims another cat in their sleep, being Irish Stripe, who, with their current injuries, larger extremities such as their ears, and a tail that's not suited for this kind of weather, is just ultimately entirely unprepared, and Irish Stripe unfortunately does not wake. The cats begin to settle into the dens that they said that they were going to set up in to try and take shelter from the frost. The frost itself gathers, whispering slowly over the wood and rock and into the moss and into their fur. The only thing that warns them is a hot, scared breath of their own clanmates. Snow begins to fall from the gray sky, and they hear creaking as the sea itself completely freezes over. This is cold unlike any that the clan has seen before them, and they settle down, trying to eat what prey they had stocked up on, but even their prey is so cold they can't eat it properly. The clan is effectively in two factions set in the medicine cat den and the nursery respectively, with a lot of the apprentices and parents of apprentices and kits in the nursery, and a lot of the regular warriors in the medicine cat's den. The medicine cats distribute what food they can, but they can't leave, even to go the few tail lengths it is into the nursery to gather and distribute needed herbs for strength. As the snow falls, it is blinding and it's impossible to say whether any cat could go out in it. It's basically like a sheet of snow, and soon both factions are buried in the snow completely. They feel completely bleak. This is so much worse than they ever would have expected. And they try and do what they've always done when they're faced with such sudden blizzards, which is keep up, keep moving, rotate their positions so that no one cat is too close to the harsh outside for too long. But as minutes turn to hours, turn to days, they start to lose hope. And as the snow is meant to insulate them, it seems to be colder than ever, and the frost just continues to set in. Dunebriar, who's already weak and struggles to traverse through this, unfortunately does pass during this process, unable to stay up and moving to keep warm. Basil Nibble did not initially hear some of the warnings and cries about this great threat, but when shaken, they did manage to perk their head up a little bit and to keep moving enough to get into a den. Their muscular body and huge paws turned out to be an asset, as their muscular body helped keep them warm in the cold. Their huge paws allowed them to navigate easily over the frost and ice as they rushed to take shelter, and urged to keep trying to dig out ways through the snow to try and find prey and just to keep air circulating. And they managed to survive. Agnes was already in the medicine cat den when everything settled. Their broad head and huge paws also helped to keep them warm during the initial parts of this frost and freeze. And their glider body and sinker tail, despite having not the best qualities for extraneous limbs and ultimately stinging by the end, does manage to make it through the frost. Jirachi Lightning is a very motherly figure, and her two kits, despite being apprentices, are well equipped and well on their way to adulthood. Jirachi Lightning can't bear to see some of the younger, smaller kids suffering, and she takes it upon herself to wrap her great bulk around them, giving them all the attention that they need, giving them licks to help warm, what food she can, and just generally helps to keep morale up. Jirachi Lightning, being such a large cat, has no problem keeping herself and some others warm, and she definitely makes it through. Bright Torrent is not as well equipped, having an amphibious tail. She is a little bit more prone to the cold and the weather, and struggles as the days and nights start to go by. Wisteria Star approaches her, advising that they've made it through worse and they will continue to do so. Wisteria Star in particular takes one night up, cuddled up against Bright Torrent, against the snow, between Bright Torrent and the snow, so that she doesn't have to take an extra turn by it. This turns out to be okay for Bright Torrent, and she stays warm enough to survive the night, but Wisteria Star does lose another life in this selfless act. Timetail has always been a very big, bulky cat, just naturally, but not through gift of his father, who did have a muscular body. Despite his long fur, he does struggle in this cold, and his prehensile tail, for what it was, just doesn't really do very well in this, and his fuzzy ears insulate him somewhat around his head, but the main bulk of his body gradually grows colder and colder as they isolate in this deep freeze. Unfortunately, Timetail does not make it through. Crab Smoke Being of a thinner stature than some of the other cats, just never really thrived as the frost set in. She was never pressured to take a turn by the snow, especially since she was already injured in the medicine cat den, but she just doesn't make it anyway. The cold ground leaches all of the warmth from her pelt, and even the moss as it begins to freeze is no better, and she just doesn't make it. Shimmerpaw and Leopardpaw are both normal cats, and both were disbelieving of what was to come. They weren't really prepared, but they did rush to the nursery where they could in order to try and help out the kits along with the other apprentices, Twilightpaw and Spiderpaw. Despite being older, they are less equipped than the younger apprentices for this cold. They usher the kits into a pile, laying on top of them. And unfortunately, Leopardpaw is the first to pass in an attempt to keep the kits themselves warm. Shimmerpaw was the first to notice what happened and cried out, as weak as she was herself from the frost. Hair Shadow could not believe what she was seeing, weakened as she was herself, and cried for her lost adopted kit. Shimmerpaw looked on and spoke quietly to Hair Shadow, saying something that Hair Shadow could not hear, before she too finds herself walking in StarClan. Upon seeing that both of her adopted kits are gone now, Hair Shadow can't help but scream out in grief. Wisteria Star goes over to try and comfort Hair Shadow and to see what's wrong. Wisteria Star notices that both of the apprentices have passed and looks on grimly as Hair Shadow tries to rouse them unsuccessfully. He knows too that the chances of doing so successfully are much slimmer without any medicine cats here to help them. And Wisteria Star tries to comfort Hair Shadow, who throws him off. Hair Shadow instead takes the frozen apprentices and attempts to drag them outside the den to lay them to rest out in the clearing above, where they can be seen by StarClan and guided there appropriately. Wisteria Star looks on, not really stopping her, but not really helping her, as Hair Shadow drags the two kids out through the deep snow into the clearing. He actually uses this as a chance to evaluate whether or not they are okay to come out, and notices that the snow has stopped, but it is extremely deep, gathering in drifts against the boats and rocks. And he notices too that the sea itself is frozen over completely. He spares a moment to wonder about the status of their prey and allies in the dolphins, but quickly kicks that notion when he sees Hair Shadow struggling through the snow. She has managed to make it to the clearing with the apprentices, returning for the other when she lays one to rest. And Wisteria Star, again, just watches her do this. She stays out in the open, body completely racked by shivers as she tries to gather herself in the cold and from the grief. But Wisteria Star sees that it's rapidly becoming more than just that grief as he bounds out to help her back. As he does so, he notices that her scaly tail has blackened and died, and thinks that maybe that's for the best. If it regrew as a scale once, maybe it'll come back again, and at least it's no longer leaching out cold through the furless tail. As he's guiding her back, he presses his own body up against her freezing cold one in hopes of giving her some comfort. And while her body warms enough to make it through, Wisteria Star actually passes away from the cold and exposure thereof. Upon seeing the outside come into focus, Blissowshadow and Poolshade both poke their heads up They are both very hungry, and I know that they're going to be more susceptible to the cold because they haven't had a good meal in several days. They go out in search of prey, but clearly whatever prey was out here has either died from exposure in this frozen solid or is sucked deep into its burrows. Poolshade struggles to make it through the large drifts that there were and just doesn't make it back. Blitzo Shadow has a bit more success with his adaptable vision and actually manages to snag a prey that was half frozen but still has enough warm blood in it to offer to the queens and kits, and maybe the other warriors can get a bite or two if they're lucky. Blitzo Shadow unfortunately does not think that he can bring his lost clanmate back with him, and knows that Poolshade would agree bringing warm prey back to the clan is more important than helping one who's already lost. So Blitzo Shadow survives and gives the others some strength and hope, but Poolshade does not make it back with such hope. Greyheart does not have any particular traits that would really help her out in this particular event, but she does have long fur and young blood, and is eager to prove herself for her clan. She sets off in turn, and her slit eyes do help her to navigate the blinding light of the sun and ice, as they let in less light than other larger eyes may. And she manages to navigate and to find a little bit of something to bring back to the clan, and she helps to bring them some hope as well, that any other cats can make it through. Twilight Paw may have been born without a leg, but she does have a muscular body and greater bulk to her than some other cats do. And upon seeing her mother selflessly wrapping herself around some of the more susceptible kits, warming them, Twilight Paw brings it upon herself to do the same. She's very nervous about doing so. She doesn't necessarily think that she's well equipped to do this for herself or for her clan, but she does bring comfort to the kits and warmth. And under the tending gaze of her own mother, she acts as a second parent to some of these kits, giving them the strength and warmth they need to survive. And she feels proud of herself for doing so well in her task. Spider Paw is also bigger and bulkier, and with his adaptable vision, he is well suited for going out in this cold. Against his mentor's warnings, his mother just looks on proudly as Spider Paw sets out, and despite his young age and inexperience, actually does manage to bring back some prey to help feed the clan, which he eagerly tries to get to the kids who aren't old enough to eat it yet, but he does manage to make it through this bad weather. Jayleaf, unfortunately, wasn't the biggest, strongest cat, and his ears were already susceptible to frostbite due to their tattered edges. Jayleaf did try and give back to his clan the entire way. He unfortunately just did not manage to get past his age in the cold, which sent to every cat's bones deeply, seemed to attack his more and more. Eventually he was too stiff to move, and without being able to move, he couldn't keep warm enough to make it. Mysterious Star, upon the beginning, made it very clear that he doesn't want to see any of these helpless kits passing from this bitter cold that was setting in. And Jirachi Light and her daughter Twilight Paw wrapped themselves around Pebble Kit and Sky Kit, who were less able to keep themselves warm between their aquatic tails and possibly tattered ears. So these cats needed a bit of extra attention despite being older than some of these newborns. They were just more fragile from this cold. And Jirachi Lightning and Twilight Paw barely moved from their side in the entire duration, but these two do manage to pull through with that. Bite Kit, Sneeze Kit, Rowan Kit, Conch Kit, and conjugate are all pretty 50-50 on traits that they're already showing at this early age being good and bad. And so these are given a bit more extra attention, especially when their parents themselves pass away. And the entire clan takes it upon themselves, especially Jirachi Lightning, to wrap themselves around the kits, making sure that they are well fed and kept as warm as they can be. And they do manage to pull through. Now, Weed Kit and her siblings all generally have larger traits and muscular bodies, broad heads, and such, even fuzzy ears, huge paws. Everything there helps them to survive and keep warm even as very small kits. With more surface area, there's more for them to lose heat from, but their parent basal nipple is also well prepared and takes great care of them. Their flat teeth, even as they start to age up, actually also help them to grind down some herbs and grasses just for something to help line their bellies when milk starts to run low. And this also helps to keep their strength up as everything proceeds. And all of them do manage to survive. Okay, so Asteriosar ultimately lost 3 lives in that event. Okay, and that's everybody. It's not as active of an event as before, but honestly with so many kits and just even going by the kit's traits alone, being able to make it, it makes it go a little bit quicker anyway. And I'm glad that even though some of the cats didn't survive this event, their newborn kits did. It just brings a little bit more hope to the clan, I think. But gradually, ever so gradually, the snow around the clan begins to melt and prey begins to become easier to find again. They barely made it through with their surplus stock of herbs and prey to give them enough strength to go back to hunting, as the prey begins to warm up enough to leave its own burrows and risk the outer cold to find its own food. The sea does begin to thaw a little bit, which is something that the clan had never even seen before, is the ocean frozen. A testament to just how cold it must have gotten. But together, they managed to pull through. Merclaw checks over every cat individually, and it begins to be seen that even cats that had gotten some frostbite on some of their extra limbs and outer appendages, a lot of tips of ears did not go unclaimed by frostbite, and some extraneous tails, especially the scaly and amphibious kind, did blacken and fall off, just as it happened to Bog Ember before. But they are starting to regrow, and despite being in leaf fall, it feels warmer than ever. And the clan all gladly agrees that they would rather have another hot green leaf than ever experience cold like this again. But they will go on, and they will survive. I think we'll go ahead and end off with our patrols for this moon and start off next time with our resolutions. While searching for some specific herbs to help heal their clan, Merclaw is startled by weird sounds and whispers on the wind. Merclaw follows the strange sounds on the wind and finds the body of an unknown queen with their kits beside them, slowly going cold. They cancel their patrol and return to camp to get help sending these lost souls to StarClan. Queen probably encountered the same issues that we did and just could not keep her and her own kits warm. The patrol finds the loner who's interested in joining the clan. They banter the clan cat a bit, making them feel more welcome. We don't have to do much. The loner is happy to join, and Creek Jumble joins our clan. Creek Jumble is compassionate, as fast as the wind, and has to have at least one trait to survive that cold. Okay, so Creek Jumble just has one mark, And just for a little bit of something different, given that we're doing this after the event, I'm going to actually just roll from any positive trait to help survive freezing cold. And that's what Creek Jumble is going to end up with. And Creek Jumble has a broadhead. And that's going to be today's episode. I know already that was going to be a pretty long one. Sorry if that wasn't as exciting of an event as previously we've had. It's a little bit harder when it's just something as cut and dry as, are they cold? Yes or no? So I tried to come up with a couple of different possibilities for things to ultimately get the cats there. But that was definitely our most successful event ever. We have still over a page of cats, and so many of those are kits and apprentices, but they still managed to make it through. And I'm really hopeful that we're gonna have better luck in the future proceeding forward from here in rebuilding. Just with as many kits as we have, we really do have a lot. And I really hope that Acorn Crest and Irish Shards kits make it through, since that's their now legacy in the clan. But if you enjoyed today's episode, please let me know. Until next time though, stay safe and happy yourselves. I'll see you all then, and bye!